Hey y'all, how you guys doing for Cardinal Lawn? Hey, how y'all doing for Cardinal Lawn Life? This has been a long Friday so far. I did a tree job this morning. Just now got off the clock. Did I get paid yet? No. I'm waiting for the customer to get home, and then I can go and talk to him. But as of right now, it is what it is, and you got to do what you got to do to keep in with the lawn maintenance and lawn care. And as you guys can see, I'm hot and sweaty. Yes, I've been outdoors working, fixing to go outside and do my own yard and stuff like that. And here I am, all hot and sweaty, and doing what I got to do within the lawn care business. And I'm fixing to go out and do my own yard. Crank up the weed eater, the blower, and everything, and do what I got to do here. Because as as a lawn care, you got to do what you got to do to keep making money. Now, I'm already off the clock, but I'm waiting on the client to get home because he's got to go to buy the bank and stuff like that. I told him I was done, so he's gonna go by the bank, pick up my money, and then he's got a couple more jobs to do himself, and then he'll be bringing my paycheck. So $40, and some food, and I'm always eating. So, and you got to live to fight another day. I always tell that to the good Lord. You got to fight and live another day. I use a sweat towel. I use my NASCAR towel for a work towel, and you just got to do what you got to do within a lawn care business, and do what you got to do to stay within the business, the lawn care, lawn life type of ordeal. Okay. And, from start to finish, I'm sitting here sweating, because you work, and then you do nothing for, lawn care and, with everything. So, and you got to have a nice water. I'm fixing to chug mine here. Within the lawn care business, you got to do what you got to do within the lawn care business. Business is business, and it will always stay business. Okay. But I'm going to go crank up the weed eater here. And I'm going to go do my own yard because, I'm going to go weed eat around. I'm going to try to get you guys to where you guys can watch. I'm going to get some work in progress content going. Let me check out my hat here. Oh, yeah, it's full of sweat. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's all disgusting looking. Oh, yeah, look at that. I worked today. It's a good ordeal. So I'm going to go crank up the weed eater and the blower, and we're going to go do some work. I got to find my face shield here. Where is it at? Oh, yeah. My back of my shirt's all filthy looking too. So, all right. So I'm put on my face shield here while I go do some work. All right. I'm gonna do my own yard. Sweat some more. What happens in the lawn care business? Put on my handy dandy work boots. handy dandy ear protection. And just so that way I don't have to carry some weed, come back inside to get weed eater string, tuck it right here in my pants. And then tomorrow's the big day. I get to go to the church and get some food. All right. Let's go get some content of weed eating and stuff like that. Get the weed eater. Ow. Over here to the back fence. There's some weeds over here at the back fence. I'll rub her up a few times too before I get started and maybe shut her off. Show you what not to do. Well, I'm going to point out some minors. Okay, of what I'm going to make. Before any of you start saying, oh, there's no weed or whatever, there is in some spots, okay? Not a whole lot. This is one area. Right here, up and along this fence, there's some weeds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim them out. Now, let's get this going. I'm running an echo today. But before I get started, I got to put some tunes in my ears. I got to grab a brick, though, to prop you guys up so you can see what I'm weed eating. I told you guys I was going to do this. And this right here is the shop, so. All right, I'm going to put some tunes in. We're going to get this going. Sorry that my thumb was in the way. Got the weed eater. Put some tunes in. Nothing like working. It's an echo. Now, that's how you work. It's an echo, boys. So, yeah, that's how that worked. And 20 minutes of working, or 50 minutes, I don't know. But it's it was so worth it, you know. Lawn care, you do what you got to do, and you got to do what you got to do when it comes into the lawn care business. And those of you that do lawn care have to actually maintain lawn care, and you actually got to maintain your yards in order for them to be accountable within lawn care season and stuff. You're doing what you got to do to keep in with the lawn care. You got to do what you got to do, and this is the live content that you guys got to see a little bit of me doing work, but on my own property. So there could be more and more work that you guys could actually see and watch within this content. But then again, you have to be focused with what kind of content you're wanting to make out there, like what you're wanting to post. You know, like more of 15 seconds of work or 10, 20 minutes of work. You know, you just got to be left accountable when it comes into the work session. Um, whether or not you want to do this, you know, it could be not, it could be something that you guys are wanting to do, but at the same time, you're wanting to make sure that you have enough content within the lawn care season. Now, all this, you might say, why don't you weed eat what you see? Well, that you can just mow over with a lawnmower. That's so worth it just to run over with a lawnmower. That's like 1 or 15 seconds of mowing. But with a weed eater, it takes all day. Okay, you'll be here all day weed eating that. So that's one reason why I don't touch it. Okay, stuff like that I don't touch. But stuff along the fence lines, the stuff that the mower can't get is what I weed eat. That right there in the middle of the lawn, that's what a lawnmower can get, and I don't weed eat that. So the stuff that a lawnmower can't get, that's what you can use a weed eater for. There's a purpose of why I don't do things in lawn care. And in this long run, it's one reason why I got off work early, is so that way I had time to talk to you guys and to make this YouTube video happen. Now, like I said, there's a time and a place for everything, but there's also a time and a place to do your live. And there's time to make money, and there's time to play. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I play all the time, because I don't. I'm always working. And today's Friday, so I'm thankful for it. I get to have a day off. But you gotta work for a living. But I don't always throw a blower on my back for no reason. There's always a reason why I throw a blower on my back. Oh yeah. So this video ain't done. There's more time to make videos, and there's more time to do what you can do right now. Ear protection protects your ears. You can listen to all kinds of tunes if you want when you're doing yards, but it also takes time off your hands when you're taking music and putting it in your and taking the time playing on your phone, doing what you. But I do it just because I don't like loud noises, So, and plus, protecting your ears is everything, That's. But you also want to be able to hear what's around you. And with these in, I can still hear what's around me because I don't have them up loud. So you just want to use caution. There's time and places for everything and every little thing. As you guys can see, I'm actually live right now and standing in a hot she shed. And so you got to do what you got to do, and there's always a time for a place and everything. So the lawnmowers and stuff that I run is cobalt. It's electric, gas operated stuff. Half of there's only a couple of things that I run that are electric: push mower and electric hedge trimmer. I can show you what those look like. They're right here up on that tarp. Okay. So there's a time and a place for every little thing. And as you guys can see, I have grass all over my laptop that I like to record on. That's one reason why I'm trying to actually save for a GoPro. In every little concept, there's a time and a place for it. Now, you're not always going to be there to make money for people because you're always going to be doing them when they need to be done, like every 2 weeks. As of right now, we're finally getting some rain, and it's every 2 weeks as of right now and we got more rain coming this afternoon. So, and yes, there's a time and a place for every little step. There's a time and a place for every little concept that you do, and everything has a concept. Every little thing that you do, everybody will look at, and that's one thing. When you do a yard, you want to be able to, when you do a yard, you want to make sure that it's a yard that you're coming home to and being able to sit in with a nice cut yard, a nice guy that does it every once in a while, every 2 weeks, every bi-weekly, every little thing that you do has a concept. Okay. You're making money. That's at least a good concept to have, and I can't say thank you enough for the people that actually watch this YouTube channel, like and subscribe and share content. Now, I do have a business account on Facebook. You guys can go and check that out. I don't have a problem with it, but just don't send me no friend request or anything like that. But you can go and check it out. I don't have a problem with it. But the live content that I do is right here on the Cardinal Lawn Life channel. Cardinal, whatever it is that you may need within the business, thing that you got to do. Now, there's not a time and a place for fighting because we don't have time for that. We don't have time for a lot of different things to do. And I like to stand. I like just to stand here in the yard and be able to talk to people about what I do for a living. But I try to make sense. But half of the time, I can't even make sense because I talk so fast. So there's a time like I said, there's a time and a place for every little concept and for time and stuff like that. Now, there is time to, spend time with family, spend time with whoever you need. But then again, you get phone calls every once in a while that you may need from whoever, it could be a business account, it could be a customer, and as you guys can tell, I could start pulling weeds, but there's hardly any weeds that you can pull. and you might say, why not? You say you do all this work, but I see you in a closet or I see you in a bedroom making nothing but videos, but I do it for, I just do it for because I can, I do it for a hobby. I come outside and do all the weed eating and stuff for a living. But YouTube and stuff and coming on here and talking to you isn't really part of the business. It's just part of my hobby. I count YouTube as not much of a, what do you want to call it? But I count it as a hobby. I don't call it as a business. I don't do none of that. I just call it as a hobby. So I'm gonna go in here and go and talk to you some more. Oh, oh yeah. But yeah, lawn care is something that I just enjoy doing. But then again, you get a long time term of doing what you need to do, and then you'll get more over time. You'll get more and more accounts. But definitely the thing that I do not want to do is snow removal. So as of right now, I got to enjoy it. Snow removal, you got to have all the snow equipment. You got to have everything. Okay. And the one thing is another, it's a whole another step when it's something that you have to come to. Now we can all agree that YouTube is not a job. It can be used for a hobby. It's bad enough I already use it for a hobby. But then again, you want to be grateful that you're actually trying to make a you, but again, you want to make sure that you're actually making a business happen. And you also want to make sure that you're making all kinds of different things for the business concept within the lawn care season. Another thing that you want to make sure is that you're having a good lawn care season when it comes into the mowing, the trimming, and all that good stuff. Now, I don't get off until 3:30, so but then when stuff starts actually kicking in, I'm going to start working overtime, you know. As of right now, I have all these early days, but it's not people are not going to look at you like you're reliable to do all their yard, you know, but they are going to count you they are going to count on you to do their yard and clean it up to where they come home and have a nice yard to walk around in, you know. So it's one thing for somebody to say, "Oh, you're doing a good job," or "you're doing awful," or stuff like that. But a lot of times, out of 50% you're going to be right, and out of 50% of the time, you're going to be getting a lot of reliable accounts. So you got to have reliable accounts in order to make more and more accounts to happen. You know, I don't want to. I don't throw a. I don't throw a backpack blower on just because I want it on my back. I use it because I need to use it. So after at the end of everything, out of all the services that I do, I use a backpack blower to blow everything off. I want the job to look as much professional than whatever it is that you need to be doing, you know. But I'm gonna try to be back on here sometime tonight, because you're going to have the 50% chance of having all kinds of sweat on you, being dirty, you know. And out of the 50% of the time, you're gonna be doing nothing but work and stuff like that. Especially after your work has been complete. That's the high chance right there. You want your job to be complete. Completing a job makes you look good. It don't make you look horrible. Completing a job makes you look good. I don't do lawn care just because I want to do it. I do it because it's a hobby. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a business, it's my own career. I don't do it because anybody else does it. It's my career. That's just the one other concept of the one reason. Business is always going to stay business no matter what somebody tells you. But you also want to make sure that that job looks magnificent when it comes to when you're working, doing whatever it is, making sure that job is doing what you want. It's making sure that job is good for you. That job, you want to make sure that looks good when the time from the time you get there and the time that you are leaving the job to go to your next one. Now, I only did one yard, which was tree trimming. Did I get paid yet? No. I'm waiting on my $40 within the next couple of hours. Hopefully, he'll be home and then I can go and pick it up. But there's a high chance that he probably won't pay me today because there was only one or two areas that I had to finish, and it just was too brutal out, so I didn't get to finish the whole concept. But there is a time and a place, like I tell you all the time, people. There's a time and a place for every little concept that you're doing. So I'm going to try to be back on here tonight. If I'm not back on here tonight, it will be Sunday that I will be back on here, or Saturday. So you would just want to, keep an eye out for Cardinal Lawn Life. And as always, keep making money, keep growing, and keep making money, boys. Peace. Cardinal Lawn Life out.